Dear friends, uh, dignitaries on the dais. To begin with, uh, you might have heard this joke, I have no choice.
Mr. Pense, hold on. If he's an interstate trading licensee, then he's subject to the interstate trading requirements of margin. So MSc DCL will also, when he sells on the exchange, be subject to those margins. 4 paisa, 3 paisa. All right. So therefore, if he sells on the exchange and the margin is high, then the money goes back, is it?
No margin.
अच्छा ठीक है 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 Sorry, Princess, I couldn't resist that. Thank you.
Yeah. To begin with, it reminds me of a joke. Please excuse me if you have heard this joke. There was one chap standing on the bridge and he fell into the river. Somebody just once again jumped behind him and he saved him. The chap who saved him, he was brought back up, both of them. And then the entire crowd asked him, do you have any saying to say? He said, I have only one question. Who pushed me in? I am on this side of the table by Mr. Dawal rather than anything, because I was supposed to be on the other side of the table. Having said that,
Pense correction. I am also electricity consumer who pays the highest tariff in India. South Bombay.
Yeah, same with me. There are two things which occur to me that with this, really, will consumer be benefited because of the competition as it is envisaged? When I ask this question to myself, the first question comes to my mind, what do you mean by consumer? Because I'm trying to categorize consumers into about 4 categories, as all of you know. The highest tariff being with the commerce, followed by industry. In addition to that, all the residential consumer consuming more than 300 units, which are basically subsidizing. And then the second category starts is residential consumer consuming less than 300, which gets subsidy plus agriculture. So when we talk about the competition, which sector of these consumers are going to get benefited is the question which occurs to my mind. Now, in the morning, I gave a little reference. Really speaking, in Bombay, we have got two, as all of us know, 2 licenses, Tata's and Reliance. I'm trying to, BST. The competition is basically occurring in Tata. Now, if we look at carrier and content different, as per the Supreme Court judgment, in the interregnum, the word is in the interregnum, the wires of Reliance can be used by Tata. Exactly this is what that carrier and content different is occurring in the respect of Tata versus Reliance. I do not know in what duration Tatas will come up with a parallel network, because it is still far away from what has been said in spite of 5 years are there repeated MERC direction, so on and so forth. There are issues with them on that side. I'll not go into that because this is not the fore at this moment of time to discuss. Now let us look at basically in that particular segment, the carrier and content is different. The carrier is obviously Reliance and the content supplier are both Tata's as well as Reliance. There has been a reasonably large difference between the two. One part being almost 55 percentage point of Reliance needed subsidy, as against that not beyond 10% from Tata's needed subsidy. Obviously, Tata's rates have been much less. What did happen in the first phase? There has been a large migration in the first phase when the Tatas were allowed to use Reliance wires, and large number of consumers basically from commerce and industry and the residential consumer who were in the top end category, maybe using 1,000, 2,000 units per month, shifted to Tata's because of reasonable reduction in their electricity bill. It did not occur for the lower segment at all. Then came the next stage. At that moment of time, because of the cherry picking and other things which occurred, really speaking, what did happen is MERC put a restriction on what should I say, shift of consumers from the top end. That means the people who are giving them the subsidy. And that's where the lower segment started shifting. In spite of that, in spite of such a restriction, it did not occur. Why it did not occur? We went into some areas and we were trying to analyze those things, that why the lower end segment people are, in spite of Tata's rate being cheaper, are not shifting. Some of the findings, because they are from basically 2-3 jhuggi jhopdi and other that's of pocket, they are essential to share with you. One, what happens in that particular pocket is there is a supplier already existing from whom the supply is coming, and there is a meter for that chap. Now the moment I want to shift, that means the new supplier is going to ask lot of documents. I want PAN card, I want Aadhaar card, I want this, I want that, etc. And good number of them do not either have that document, or in the initial stages, they had some sort of, what should I say, forge, duplicate, and manage document. Obviously, they didn't had any interest in shifting to a new electricity supplier because of these issues. This is one part. Second part of it is, over there is a herd mentality. The herd mentality goes like that a sector belongs to one political party, another sector belongs to another one, and the third belongs to maybe another community. Unless and until that community leader says shift, they won't change. They are not changing. In the gross process, what happened is, though the Tata's rates were cheaper, in the first phase, the shift did not occur at all. Then came the second issue. At that moment of time, the rates for commerce and the basically industry of Tata started becoming higher than that of Reliance. What did happen? There was a reverse migration. In what duration? Almost 3 months. To what quantum? Almost 200 megawatts. You can imagine from an almost 700, 900 megawatt, 200 megawatt going away. So they came to as low as about 700 megawatt. Now you will be realizing that in spite of the Tata's rate being cheaper in the lower category, still the consumers of Reliance in that segment, basically residential, are 23 lakhs versus only 3 lakhs in respect of Tata. So there seems to be something more than what it needs to, it appears to our eyes. Now the next question is, once again, basically what is happening is Reliance has already given the proposal, Tata's have not. Reliance proposal, you must have read it in the newspapers. Assume Tata's rates come. If they become higher, there will be once again reverse migration. What I am trying to say, basically the people whom it matters more, and the chap who has to get up from his seat and do all this paperwork, going do chakkar kato, that only sector is shifting. So the competition, when it occurs, is basically occurring in the industry and commerce and not in the residential sector, where in spite of the lower rates, the people are not shifting. Having said that, let us look at trying to expand this to other areas. Now let's look at franchisee model. Why I'm trying to take you to this is, in spite of the rate being only one, see, one of the things Mr. Sakya said that, they will look for, what sort of service, etc. As far as Bombay is concerned, you get 24/7 supply. Almost all the utilities are in equal front. So really speaking, at this moment of time, the differentiating factor is only tariff. So the moment there is a lesser tariff, that flow shifts back. So it is a 2 and 4 continuously journey occurring. It can very well happen that within a year or two, the scene will definitely change. Going through this, it is always better to learn while making trying to differentiate between the carrier and content, whatever limited experience we have in Bombay. The reason is very simple. As all of us know, that Bhiwandi franchisee model was a success. which was picked up by the Planning Commission. My great friend Girish Sant and other people, we had done some work and presented it at that moment of time to the Planning Commission, and they gave a real go-ahead to the franchisee model. In spite of that, why did we fail in Nagpur and Aurangabad? In case of Nagpur, the contract was awarded to Crompton. It went into litigation. For 3 years, litigations were there, and Crompton walked out. In case of Aurangabad, the total bank guarantee given is 150 crores. Their outstanding is 600, so almost 450 crore gap is still there. And now, once again, the whole basket, the whole ball is in MSCDCL court. What I am trying to say, just because one experiment is capable, one experiment is successful, we are too large a country to start across nation for anything to happen. Franchisee in Maharashtra, maybe Bhiwandi model was our good example, but it has not occurred. It didn't get repeated in respect of Aurangabad and Nagpur. Jalgaon seems to be working. So we have a flip-flop thing happening. We have to learn a lot. And in my opinion, the competition, if at all it occurs, because of this, will occur for the top end, not for the bottom end, because we are something like our diesel and generating set things it shouldn't happen. That, in respect of petroleum, all of us know that government said that it will decontrol. It did, and all across nation, SR and Reliance petrol pumps are closed. Only Indian Oil is giving the supply. The classical situation is only for the top end, the competition, if at all it occurs, because there is a large benefit to them. And by taking just 1 or 2 examples, replicating this on carriage and content, we may not be in a position to achieve the result. It will take some time going through number of experiments to modify and evolve. Thank
Pendse
you
sir,
so much.
so just to, let me see if I've captured it right. You put it very beautifully that your study shows that only the top end of the consumer, where the price differential matters, like industry and others, are the ones who would migrate this way or that way.
Yeah,
The bottom end couldn't be bothered because there's too much of paperwork and too much of complications.
yeah.
And you also made a comment, and so did this previous speaker, about the fact that there is a liability on Tatas to build a second grid
Yes,
because the Supreme Court order says in the interim.
yes.
But don't you think that will get sorted out once the amendment comes, the Electricity Act, where content and carriage is separated?
Yeah, absolutely, no
It
doubt
would-
about
so
it.
that
See,
would- so
that
that-
interregnum will come to halt.
Will come to halt.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting what you said. So basically, the paying consumer is the chap who is willing to migrate if he is able to save some money.
Yes.
So moment carriage and content comes, that paying consumer will just move out of the present system.
Yes. That
So
means-
what is likely to happen to the Mumbai tariff, for example?
See, for example, in case of Mumbai tariff, what is happening is, once again, this because of the flip-flop, there are major issues which are continuously happening over year, because, the moment this top-end consumer walks off, the cross-subsidy left with that is, comes down, and the residential tariffs moves up. So really speaking, there will be some scene at some moment of time that this differential between the two will not be a very large, and that this sort of migration may not happen. Because I'm worried, I'm reasonably feeling that it will happen, that the 4th time this reverse migration will start.
In UK also, only 4% of the consumers had done the switching. 96% remained with the utility, though there is a choice given to them. In
Yeah.
our own houses also, how many times you have changed the paper boy in the morning or milkman in the morning? We don't change unless he makes a grave error of giving service. Till then we don't change him. For 20 years, 25 years, same paper boy, same milkman is servicing our. But there is a deterrent on him that if he doesn't serve, we will go to somebody else.
Yeah.
Same deterrent we need to build into our distribution company by giving a choice. He knows that my consumer will go away if I don't behave. You will see that you are seeing this in Air India also. The way they were behaving before competition was set in, and today how they are behaving, in spite of government interference, we will find that their behavior is far better compared to even private airlines many times actually.
Yeah, I'll make only 2 additional comments to support Mr. Jayandev's this one. Had Tata's competition not come, then the rate at which increase in the tariff of Reliance was going up would not have got arrested. It got arrested because of that. This is the first comment, and the second comment is, yeah, see, the Reliance rates were going absolutely at haywire to the extent that Bombay cannot have load shed. So at some moment of time, they had purchased the power at 12 rupees 20 paisa. At the moment Tata's rate started dropping up and the large consumers started moving up, they did much more and better power planning, brought their power purchase cost, and I don't say that they have become equal, but it has come down as compared to otherwise. You know, it was an unrestricted increase which was happening. Lastly, I'll make only one comment, which probably I read maybe 8-10 years back. Just for your information, during the California fiasco, at that moment of time, there was one question asked to the consumers: do you want competition or lesser rate? You will be surprised to know 70-80% of the consumers said that we want competition. Saying was easy, but at the end of 3 years also, out of 23 lakh, 1,80,000 consumers only shifted.